All right, so welcome back to another Champions Journey video with an absolute legend. I know I say absolute legend for every Champions Journey video, but honestly, you know, the people that we feature in Champions Journey are all legends. And Nicole Nachelgast, 10 out of 10 for pronunciation, right? Yes.
Perfect.
Thank you. Nicole is joining us today, and she is going to share her journey for creating her e-commerce business, The Adventure Book. So Nicole, thank you very much for joining us today. Welcome. It's awesome to have you here. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me. It's great talking to you again. It's been almost a year.
Almost a year. Yeah. Last time we were just saying before we started recording this that it was Australia, wasn't it, for the Momentum Day event in Gold Coast? Literally seems like another lifetime ago. I think
was before.
Just before, yeah, because COVID was just like, we were just aware of COVID, weren't we? I think there was the first 5 cases in Australia or something.
Yeah.
And I missed the sun.
Oh God, don't start. Don't start.
We'll just start by crying on this call.
No, we're fine. We'll make it through. We're entrepreneurs. We're gonna make it. We're gonna handle this.
I love it. We've got this. So Nicole, tell us a little bit. What I'd like to hear about is your journey with the Adventure Book. Now, before we dive into that, just a quick intro so that everybody watching knows who Nicole is and her an overview of what she's done. Basically, launched the Adventure Book, which is an awesome travel journal. Nicole, do you have any handy that you can hold up or show us anything like that? Oh, yeah, we didn't plan that one at all.
Totally not at all.
Totally not. Oh my! Wow, you're so prepared.
2 babies.
Perfect. So there you go. As you can see, it's an adventure travel journal with every independent country in the world featured within it. And correct me if any of this is wrong, Nicole, but I believe that you started the idea because a friend of yours was looking for a sort of product before she went on her travels, and you looked online and you couldn't find anything like it at all. So that was kind of the idea. Yeah. So that was the idea for the travel journal. Graphic designer by trade. And then when you launched the Adventure Book, first couple of months, you got it on the market, you started selling products, and then you sold your first 1,000 copies of the book within 6 to 7 weeks. Is that right?
That's correct. That was crazy. And the first few months, we ran it from the back of a van because we had planned a trip to Australia. And we were like fulfilling orders from the back of a van in the middle of the outback. Like, it was crazy.
Wow. I love that. That is literally the ultimate bootstrap entrepreneur launch story ever.
It was.
Oh, amazing. Well, tell us then a little bit more detail of kind of how that happens. So when you talk with your friend and that you got this idea, what was kind of the process after that between then and getting it to actual market?
I think the first time the idea popped up and then actually producing it, I think there was like maybe half of a year or a year in between, because like, how many times do you have an idea where you're like, that would be really cool, and then just not do anything with it at all, just like one ear in with the other ear out. But my boyfriend Robin, he's always very supportive. He's like, that's a great idea, you should write it down. So I was like, no, it's okay. He's like, no, write it down. And then I was like, well, if I would do such a thing, like, would be cool if like this would be in there and that would be in there. It's like, write it all down. So that's kind of like, didn't think about it for months. And then my friend was like, did you do anything with that idea? And I was like, not really, like, but it sparked the idea again. And I just started working on it on and off. So like a couple of hours a month and just kind of working out the idea. But it wasn't really a serious project. And then I spoke to someone who runs the e-commerce project, the e-commerce product within the SFM mentors community. So import experts, that's a community that just teaches people to how to do online entrepreneurship in all kinds of ways. And I was asking like, hey, I have this idea. Do you think it would be good for me to pursue this? And he was so excited and like, oh, that sounds amazing. You should totally do that. And I think that was like July 2018. And he was like, but this is a great like gift for the holidays. So if you could just get cracking and just launch it in November, that would be great, because then you can sell it for everyone as a Christmas present. So that's what I did. I just like, what's the saying? I buckled down and just like went to work. And then in November we launched. Like, we had to build a website. We had to find a fulfillment center, because I was not gonna go to the post office every single day. Like, I needed help with stuff like that. And I kind of realized it was a pretty big project. So Robin, he offered, like, can I help with anything? So I kind of took on the creative side of everything and the marketing, and he did all the logistics and those parts. And there we went.
There you went. I think you mentioned, Nicole, that point where you kind of had the idea and then nothing really happened for a while, because you always like, yeah, it's a great idea, but get around to it at some point. And I think a lot of us can really relate to that. I mean, I certainly can. I've had many, many things that I've either put off or not followed through on, thought they're a good idea. And also friends, the amount of time that I hear a friend say, I thought of that idea, but they never did anything with it, and then someone else launched it. So let's say someone is in that space right now. Maybe they've got an idea of sort of a physical product or something they'd love to explore and launch. What would you say would be good advice to help somebody start to get a bit of momentum and turn it into something real to get towards that point of launching their first product?
Oh, that's a tricky one, because obviously there are so many different ways you can do that. I mean, for instance, I'm a designer myself. I'm a graphic designer, so I had the skills to kind of just play around with that idea myself, without like having to pay a lot for a model to be made or anything. But I think if you have an idea, just kind of sketching it out, just whatever if it's a book, but you're not a designer, for instance, I would always just what are all the ideas that you have, write them all down, write them all out, and just grab a notebook and like, what would be the layout of your book? Like, what would be on this page? What will be there? What will be there? So just, and it doesn't have to be a book, but the idea is that you have to make it visual for yourself, so that new ideas pop up and that new ideas can start to form. But I think the main thing is, I did a lot of research before I actually kind of started to seriously work on it, because I didn't want to be like, oh, I did this, and then have 3 months later find out that it existed after all. So always just do your research. What is already out there? How could your product be different? How could you improve on it? And just start somewhere. I think it's cliche and bad advice. Like, I really want to be more specific, but like, your idea could be like as big or as small, and like, it's very hard to give advice on a specific thing, but just start working on it, baby steps, and then the next step will just present itself constantly.
I think you're so right that, I mean, it's not bad advice at all. It's perfect advice that you just have to start doing something. Because I found exactly the same thing when I was doing Bamboo Bar, so e-commerce business. Kind of got put on hold because of COVID, but we're launching again very soon. So it's like this little solid stick deodorant bar goes in the bamboo case, and this started life as a sketch in the back of a journal. And that's sometimes all it needs. Like, you need the idea, and then you just need to decide, you know what, I'm actually going to take this somewhere and do something with it. And I think the moment that you make that kind of commitment, because you decide, I want to see if I can make this happen, I'm going to put, energy behind it, that's when it starts to get momentum. So you mentioned as well about involving Robin, your boyfriend, in the project when it started getting a bit of that momentum. Was there anyone else that you involved, or was it just yourself, or kind of how did other people start getting into the mix?
I definitely do not do this alone. Like, we don't have any set staff, but like from very early on, we had a printing expert who handles all like make sure that we have the right quality for the cover, for the paper on the inside, make sure that like all the communication with the printer is going well. Like, he really has my back, and he would be asking me like, look, what do you want to do with this? And like, that's a really good question. I didn't think about that
Mm.
yet. So like having someone like that was really, really helpful. Like I said, we have the fulfillment center. So that's a bunch of people helping us. Since just like almost a year now, we have a personal VA as well, a virtual assistant that helps us with our customer service, because that just became a little bit overwhelming,
Yeah.
especially with COVID hitting, and everybody wanted to know what was happening to their packages. So we get a lot of help from that. I have a financial advisor that helps me just make sure everything is good to go. We have enough money for investments. We have enough money set aside for our taxes. We have like everything is now, it feels structured and I feel confident. And like, I felt so much better having all my ducks in a row now that I also left my last like clients that I worked for before, like, because a month ago I quit all of that. So it's now just solely the adventure book. So that's quite a big step, but I feel very confident that we can make it now because we have solid plans. And yeah, so we get lots and lots of help. But yeah, it's mostly just me and Robin.
Awesome. And out of everything there was something that you mentioned, and I want to pinpoint it because I relate to this so much. And it's again back to this point of like of actually starting the journey and actually turning an idea into something real that has momentum. Because I launched an event in London last year, funnily enough, right before we were in Australia. So it's February the 8th was the event, and we were in Australia, I think, at the end of February. It was like the last week or so of February, 2020. And the event was called Connect You London. And that kind of, it started as an idea because of a seminar sort of mastermind that I was going to for the year before. And I had the idea and I wanted to launch it, but I was dragging my heels and wasn't really making that much progress. And the second that things got real and it just was like a snowball was the moment that I started looking at venues and started having conversations with other people.
Yeah.
And you said there about your printing company, and you spoke to them, and then they start coming back to you and suggesting ideas and changes and and I just wanted to really pick up on this for someone watching who's thinking, well, I've got an idea, not really getting much traction, but I want to get started. I think one of the most powerful things you can do is just pick up the phone and inquire or contact with someone that will be involved in the process, because suddenly you're accountable and suddenly you're their client and they're gonna keep you moving forwards. So
absolutely.
Brilliant.
Absolutely.
And anything that you'd add to that, like, you know, when you did pick up the phone, did you notice that something like that happened, or was it already going beforehand? Just give us
I think it was when I talked to John from Import Experts, when he was so excited and he was like, well, then you should move on and do this before Christmas. And he's like kind of laying out a few things. Okay, you'll need a website, you'll need someone or a company that helps you with shipping it. And like the product needs to be there. And those were like the three big items. But then you're like, okay, how I'm gonna reverse engineer from that. And like you said, now he was kind of checking up on me every week, like what's going on, what have you done? And when I reached out to Tim, our printing expert, like he got me moving and like was like, you have to submit it by this date if you want to have it before then. And yeah, I think that you're absolutely right. When you start involving other people in your project, that you are suddenly thinking of, okay, what else needs to be done? What else do I need to figure out before we get to that launch moment? Or because gosh, if I had known all the steps that were there from moment one, I would be like, maybe not.
Yeah, like you say, as soon as you're on that process and you're speaking to other people and it becomes real, you know, you just overcome each challenge bit by bit. You just take the next step and take the next step. Would you say, Nicole, were there any major sort of fears and doubts and things that were holding you back in the early stages, or that you really had to overcome? Like, what was there a big one or two fears, doubts, concerns, uncertainties, that sort of thing?
Like I can remember thinking to myself, like, oh, if I would just like sell one at the first 3 days, that would be great. So like that already shows like how confident I was that everyone wanted to buy it. So obviously you always fear that people might not like it, or it's just not a success. But before I started it, I already knew that I had put aside some savings, and I knew, okay, the first print is going to cost this much. Well, if it fails, then I have lost a bit of savings, but we're not in trouble or anything. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, we're just going to try it. It seems like an awesome project to try. And who knows what it can bring to us. And it did a lot. So that took away a lot of the stress, like it had to work out financially. But yeah, there was a big fear of like, well, okay, now people have this book and there's not going to be a lot of people that are going to want to buy it, and it's going to be hard to find customers, or because it's only been like a few months since we launched our second book. And I was really like worried that just having one product, because our store just had one product for almost 3 years, that like, how are we going to make that profitable? Like, we don't have many return customers, like a clothing store or anything. So I didn't want to be a one-hit wonder either. Like at one point we were like, okay, people are really liking it. That's awesome. But we want to make this a sustainable business. So now we're working on, so we have the second book, but we're also working on a stationery line and just all kinds of things that people can use for their journals. And we're working on other books. So yeah, you had to start somewhere, and that was great. But yeah, that was one of my worries. Like, but how are we going to make this sustainable? Like, will this work out? So, but I didn't have those ideas from day one either. It was just like, start with that, see where it goes. And now we have tons of ideas what we can do.
What do you reckon the next product's going to be?
First things are going to be sticker sets. We're going to probably do like an advent calendar at like next Christmas. So we're already planning next Christmas.
Wow.
Because I had like a torturous, like busy period because Brexit, COVID, everything came together. And so that was horrible. So I'm like, not going to let that happen next year. So I'm already planning at like Christmas. So like a lot of stationery products are coming first. We have a couple of books planned. And just also a lot of people ask me for recommendations for pens, for stuff to use, and just stationery supplies. So we're also going to stock those as well, just to make it an easy one-stop shop. And yeah.
Nice. And I suppose that's a really cool upsell, isn't it? Like someone buys the adventure book, and then you have this nice, like, you know, pen set, maybe felt pen or something, so people can really, And
people just want to be sure that, I don't want to have the pens bleed through the paper. So offering them on your own website, like, these won't bleed through this specific book, like that's enough for most people. And something that I'm really looking forward to doing this year is not necessarily a direct like extra income stream, but it's really working on my YouTube channel, because a lot of people are like a bit afraid or that they're not creative enough. So a lot of people want to see, how do you make a page like that? How do you fill it in? How do you make it look pretty? And so there's a lot of interest in that. So that's something I want to do to help the people that we already that are already our customer, also as a way to organically find new people that would be interested in our products. And it could be a new income stream once we hit that 1,000 subscribers and 3,000 watched hours or something. And start to kind of build an income stream with that as well, because I think it could be really big, but it's obviously going to take quite a bit of time and effort before we would hit that point. But yeah,
love it. Good work. Well, let's take all of that then and sort of let's dilute it down into a really tangible lesson. Again, for anyone watching who's in the early stages and maybe thinking about launching something. And I think out of what you said there, Nicole, few things that I can definitely relate to is this idea of not trying to run before you can walk. So you only need to see a few steps ahead. You don't need to necessarily plan out the entire life of the business before you start. Number two, I think you have definitely done something in an area that you are passionate about and that you are interested in, because travel has always been a passion of yours, hasn't it?
Definitely. And that's one of the tips that I was about to give. Like, when you do come up with a product of your own, make sure that it's something that you want to talk about, you're excited about, because like I can make like 3-hour long YouTube videos and just never stop talking about it because I love talking about it.
Yeah.
And if you're going to make something your business, you want to make sure that you're passionate about it. Like otherwise, you're not going to have the same enthusiasm to bring up like after the first highs. Yeah, you just want to make sure that it's something you love and cherish, and maybe not love and cherish, but you can start to love and cherish once it's your own baby.
Yeah. Let's talk about this for a second, because it's such a contested topic in the entrepreneurial space, the whole idea of follow your passions. And there's arguments on both sides, and both arguments make sense. And obviously different people have different opinions about this. I do very much believe, though, as you've pointed out there, that if you do not enjoy or are not in some way passionate about what it is that you're doing at the core of your business, the product you're offering, the service you're offering, if you're not interested or passionate about it, it's not sustainable in the long term. You're not going to stick it out for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years and really grow something awesome if you're just selling, like, I don't know, toilet cleaners or something, and you're like, I don't give a crap, it's just a way to earn money. If anyone is selling toilet cleaners and you love it, I'm sorry, it was just an example that came to mind. Yeah, you do you.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think it is important to find something that you are interested in. And also because there's so much opportunity out there now with the internet, and like you have every market imaginable to the entire online population of the world, which is billions.
Yeah.
There is so much opportunity, and therefore it's really hard to hone in on something specific.
Yeah.
Unless you're like, right, well, I love travel, so let's do something in that idea. Ding. Right. And what happened then as well, and I think this is super important, is that because you're interested in this and you know and understand, people who travel and what they might like and what the pains and problems
What
are
I
and
would
what
like.
products, what you would like exactly. And that then was the basis of creating the idea.
Yeah.
Because if I was to like try and create an idea for a product in, I don't know, curling or something, I have no idea what challenges or problems or interests someone who does curling would have. So I'm never going to come up with it.
It's tricky.
So yeah, so just off the back of that, Nicole, like, let's say someone's watching and they think, well, I mean, I have some passions, but I can't come up with any ideas or any products. So I don't know what would work or what would sell. Like, what would you say to someone in that space?
Well, first of all, I was you, because I started out like I was a designer, was like, that's not going to be it for the rest of my life. So I started to do affiliate promotions and affiliate business. And I really enjoyed that. And that gave me a lot of freedom because I worked on it a lot. So I became quite good at it. And there I learned like a lot of marketing skills. So once I had my own product, I knew how to market that. Like that was kind of like, okay, I need to do this and this and this. So I already like took a step learning other skills. I knew like that was not going to be my pride and joy forever, but it taught me a lot of new things before I actually came up with the adventure book. But what I would tell you to do is just, what do you enjoy doing now? Like, go do those things. Like if it's comic books, like you could DM like 100 people and just ask them like, can I work for you? Like, can I just do an internship with you? I'll work for free, or I'll just start gathering experiences. And like, if you message 100 people, a couple will reply, and just start experiencing things so that you just continuously come up with new ideas and just get deeper into that thing that you're not even passionate about, but you're interested in, and see if that is something you can delve deeper into. And always just chat with people who are in that community and just not necessarily ask them like, if there was a product that you think could really be good for this, because you're probably not going to get something out of that, but just listen and see what they are like. Oh, wouldn't it be fun if for this, or I'd really love this, and maybe then you can become that connecting factor. I think just going out there and trying things out, and just then ideas will spring up, I believe.
Love it. And you mentioned as well about the community, the SFM and mentors community that really helped you learn those skills, get the education. How important would you say that was on your journey?
Oh, I think it was pretty massive.
Mm,
I think if I hadn't had the experience in selling online and knowing how to do marketing, I think the idea of the adventure book would just have passed me by. It was like, that
yeah.
would be really cool for someone else to do. It really gave me the confidence, like, well, I know how to make a book. I now know how to sell it, would know how to sell it.
Mm.
Like, this could work. So it gave me a lot of confidence. Yeah.
Cool. So I suppose if somebody is watching this and they're thinking, hold on, I would like to find out what this education is about. If someone's watching this under Scrap the 9 to 5, I'll pop a link just below where you can learn more about SFM and mentors. If you're watching through Nicole, Nicole, guessing you could probably do the same, right? Just pop a link below for where you learn through SFM and mentors. Yeah. Cool.
Sure. Yep.
Good. So final couple of questions then. If somebody is, so they're starting out, they've got the product idea, they want to launch something, they're like, okay, I know that I need an education, I know that I need to get started. What other advice would you say really helped you in those first 6 months of the adventure book with getting it off the ground? Any other top tips, bits of advice, guidance that you'd share with someone starting out?
I think social media is your friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I think someone once told me, like, when people introduce themselves, they're entrepreneurs, but they introduce themselves like, I'm a masseuse, or I am a therapist, or I am a stockbroker, or whatever.
Mm.
And he argued that that was the wrong way to put it, because basically you're not any of those. Like, the masseuse is actually, I market a massage company, because
Yeah.
as the owner of the business, it's your job to get customers and to make sure that people see it and know that it exists, and other people could actually do the job within. But the
Mm.
most important thing really is getting it in front of people. Like, you could
Mm.
have the most amazing product, but if people don't know it exists, like, well, we know what happens, nothing. So that always kind of stuck in my head, like, okay, I sell travel journals. No, I make travel journals. No, I sell them. I market them. I need to continuously find ways to make sure that people see them and that they are interested in them, and show all the kinds of ways that it can enrich their lives. And I think that's a piece of advice that really, really helped me, because we kind of can get lost in all the little bits and bobs and pieces of what you need to do to get started. Like, get your core idea. Like, it doesn't have to be freaking perfect. Like, I would have loved to have a hardcover for my first book, but that just felt like, no, that must be too expensive. We can't do that. The investment would be too big. So I'll start with a smaller one. I'll start with a soft cover. And I just really honed in on, okay, how can I make it look good and attractive and show people how fun it is? And that is what helped me sell it. And people will, like, I had quite a lot of like grammar mistakes, like, no, not grammar, like Venezuela instead of Venezuela, like typing errors. And I was like, oh God, like a lot. And people were like super nice about it. They were like, I know you're a small business, you're doing great, but I just wanted to let you know that it's Venezuela. I'm like, so stuff like that, it doesn't have to be perfect. And
Yeah.
yeah, marketing is really the blood of your business. And marketing can sound like really, but I just have to be in Facebook ads all day. Well, maybe, but it's also just being present online. Like I said, with YouTube, that's going to be a big one for us, I think. Maybe
Yeah.
TikTok. Like, yeah. And of course, it depends on what your product is. Like, I'm a real B2B young audience. Like, Instagram is a great place for us. But maybe your business is more LinkedIn or more, yeah. So it depends.
Got it. So perfection is the enemy of great. Be willing to just fail forwards, just one little step at a time, and getting eyeballs on your product, i.e. marketing, is crucially important to learn if you're going to succeed as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. I think that's I think learning marketing before I started selling this is the difference between me being successful now and being a starving artist.
Got it. Great advice to finish on. I love that, Nicole. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love the adventure book. I love the concept. I can't wait to start traveling again. And I will definitely be picking up a copy of your book so that I can fill in whether Venezuela or wherever. It doesn't matter. I'm
It's
just
fixed. It's fixed.
it's fixed now. No, that's great.
And you just need to sort out Brexit because you're making it awfully hard for me at the moment.
Tell me about it. I mean, I'm not even going to get into the political discussion right now. It's absurd, but Nicole,
Challenges of an entrepreneur.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you so much. I will speak to you soon, and have a good day.
Yes,
Bye for now.
Awesome talking to you. Bye.
Bye.